Okay, so there's so many people that are just freaking out. So I'm going to try and explain something. And I know the people who are listening to me, you know, who've been listening to me, like, they obviously get it, or they wouldn't listen to me. So this is kind of more, like I keep talking about, there's going to be a huge influx of people that are going to come in looking for information. So it's kind of like, you know, kind of going to basics to kind of explain. So, but there's a couple things I want to kind of like put it together, and maybe it will help people to understand. So when you get born, you're born into this reality, right? And you come in like a free spirit. You come in just full of confidence and joy and hope and excitement, you know, creation. I mean, you can create a completely other world with pillows and blankets, you know, making a fort and creating this other world that is real, you know. When you are running from monsters, you really see the monsters. Like, it's a much more magical time. And then we are, you know, put into this system that is meant to devour us, to suck that out of us, to shame us into compliance. So, you know, right off the bat, I mean, your parents are already part of the system. They're already deeply indoctrinated by the time you're born. So right away, you are starting to be confined, refined, defined, right? You're starting to develop yourself by other people's standards. You've stopped being true to yourself, and now you've started adapting who you are to what other people want you to be. So you spend all your life trying to create something that's going to make other people happy. So you spend all of your time, your energy, you know, and these people don't like that. Well, I better not be like that. And this people like that. And I identify with this group. I identify with that group. You know, and we get ourselves so structured around these definitions, these labels, these ways and states of being that aren't true to who we are. And so we're trying all the time to fit in instead of be ourselves. And so this, what is happening now in the world is everything that we thought we were is crumbling. So we have to look at ourselves and figure out who we are. And so that is why everybody has so much shit happening in their lives. So much, I'm just so full of snot again. I know it's the allergies, and I know you start paying attention to the patterns and stuff. You know, like, okay, when this happens, then they do this, and then this happens, and you know, we're in the dreary gray orange sky stage where it's just raining nonstop. They're probably trying to do the floods again. And one thing is too, is like my friend in Australia, she said that, you know, it's been torrential downpour for 2 weeks, and they have got floods, really bad floods, like with here, with, you know, water going through houses and stuff. And they're expecting it to get much worse, go, you know, all over in Australia with these floods, which is all done on purpose. But the thing that is interesting is that there's people who are watching this satellite stuff, and they are showing the Australians, because they can see it. They come in and they put some sort of chemicals out into the sky, or, you know, shoot them into the clouds, or however they do it. I think they create the clouds, because these clouds aren't normal. Just like the sun's not normal here where I'm at. So, you know, I don't know how they do it, but they definitely use chemicals and stuff to create weather patterns. And, you know, rain, snow, wind, all of it. They're doing it all. But they're caught. There's somebody who's watching it go in Australia, and they are posting it, and people are seeing. So, you know, I mean, everything they're doing is going to get them caught. You know, we used to all be asleep. We used to all be so focused on being accepted by others that we weren't paying attention to everything else. But now everything is falling apart in everybody's lives, and they're paying attention to things that wouldn't have paid attention to. And that's why it's called the awakening. Because now you're awakening to real life, the truth behind it. And it's all about suppression, repression, oppression. That's what everything has been about here, is to stifle your soul and to keep your consciousness distracted and interacting with this fake world. That's why, you know, it's, as they're doing all this and they're bringing out the metaverse and stuff like that, that's why it's like, it's ironic. They've already been doing that. They're just wanting to go in deeper. They want you to get your bag of chips, your bottle of pills, sit your fat ass on the couch, put on your goggles, and live your life. You know, they don't give a shit about you. They only care about the energy. We know, well, how much are they going to charge for them? How much are they going to charge for your time to be in them? You know, all of this stuff is all for them. It's all to benefit them. It's always to take away from us. It's to take away our energy, to take away. And when they take away your will to live, you know, they've taken away everything. You know, you got to find, and that is one thing I'm noticing with people too. And this is what I talk about. You know, I didn't get through the stuff without having to draw on my resilience, to have to find out how resilient I am, that I can get through disasters and come out the other side. You have to show yourself that. That's what your soul is trying to do right now, is break free from this system and come out, you know, conquering, you know, being true to itself, re-identifying itself, and, you know, coming out like the victor in a time of trouble, of crises. So the, you know, and they're creating all these crises. Like, I don't know what all's going on in the Ukraine, and anything, if you go look, it's all going to be fake stuff. Like I said, they're putting up pictures that, well, I've been busted too. I mean, people are catching it. Like, they're putting up pictures of Libya 5 years ago and calling it the Ukraine. You know, they're manipulating us all the time to create fear, because they use our fear as energy to power their reality. And it depletes us. It depletes our energy. And it messes with all of our chemical imbalances when we live in fear. And that's why you have to notice yourself. Connect your mind, body, soul. Notice what is pulling energy. Like, start paying attention to your energy. Like what I was saying. Like, if something's making you anxious, if something's making you depressed, it's up to you to go in and change that. There's nobody going to come in and change it. Everything's not going to change for you. You have to change what is not right for you. And all of this stuff happening right now is so you can do that. Everything is falling apart so that you can. It's like everybody was so willing to just, you know, this is life. You know, it's the way it is. We all have to just, you know, be slaves to a system, never get ahead, feel defeated, have shitty relationships, empty life. You know, everybody was willing to accept it and just be like, fuck, life sucks, you know, and nobody was willing to change it. So life is coming in. The hand of God is coming in. The cosmic cycles are coming in to change that, to take things away. So you have to reprioritize. You have to notice, like, what is important? Who am I really? How do I get back to my true nature? Which is all through healing. It's healing all of the things that you took as a child and your independent soul, and then everything you took from this world, from the people around you, to redefine yourself, to figure out who you were by other people's standards. So those are the things you have to heal. And a lot of the things are done in shame and bitterness, control, anger. And so we have all of these different things that we don't want to deal with. We don't want to look at. We don't want to notice, you know, like, how could I have been so stupid? Like, when I had to go through my dark night, after I got my brain injury, and I had to heal. I had to heal just to survive. And I was losing everything. I was losing my identity. I was losing my house. I was losing, you know, my marriage split. Well, that marriage was, I mean, it was really short and was very crumbly from the beginning, you know. And that was, I think, before my brain injury, to show me, like, you're spiraling out of control, like, you know. But I wasn't seeing it because I was caught up in the matrix. I was caught up in the illusion. So it had it, like what I was talking about yesterday, they'll keep knocking you off your path until you get in alignment. So I kept getting knocked off my path. And I kept being so confused. Like, I mean, all I want to do is just retire, have my house paid, have a good job. Like, you know, what am I doing wrong? Why is everything going wrong for me? And once I got through that part, all that stuff was taken away from me. And I still went into another relationship that was very destructive to me because I didn't ever stand up for myself. And so I had to go through all of that process to get to the point of my dark night. And once that relationship ended, which I should have ended it way in the beginning, but I continued to do something that I didn't want to do, that didn't feel right to me, and I continued to be a part of it. So when it was taken away from me, it was very humiliating. It was, you know, I felt like shit. And so that is when I went into the dark night, where I had to face all of these sides of myself that were considered to be the dark side, you know, where you have to see like, oh my God, I'm so weak. I'm so ignorant. I'm so, like there's so many things. Like I can't think of them all now. I mean, that's the joy of a brain injury. You forget a lot of stuff, but it's stuff that doesn't matter. You know, you don't, things like if somebody says something that's mean to me, I usually forget about it. Like it just did. I've just realized there's so much stuff that we hold on to that doesn't matter. But when I went into the dark night, you know, and I had to face my own demons, look at my own dark side, and it was hard. It was so hard. I was so suicidal, and it was, you know, horrible. And I was all alone. I don't see how anyone could do this with somebody, you know, in your ear and making demands of you and stuff like that. You need that process to face your dark side so that you can accept yourself, so you can look at yourself as a whole. And then, and the way that you get out of being so hateful towards yourself and get into acceptance is you realize you learned from it. You're not the same person. Everything is there for you to learn. So, and that all goes in together with all of this stuff about the soul, what this planet is, and everything. Like it all fits together, but people are just focused on the wrong things so that they are not seeing how it all makes sense. They think nothing makes sense, but it all makes sense. But it's the difference of being caught up in being focused on the 3D world and going up and looking at it from above. Because then you get a completely different perspective. And I keep talking about this, and I know that there's people who listen to me now who have that ability to detach from this avatar experience and go in and look at it from a higher perspective, because that is what everything is about. You don't get so caught up in the pain and suffering when you look at like what's the purpose? Why is this going on? And it's always to benefit us. So all of this stuff that is being ripped out of people's lives is because it doesn't need to be there. As the things are taken away from us, we're going to see we didn't need that. We were dependent on it, but we didn't need it. We are ready to move into a place of dependence, independence, and freedom. We're moving out of dependence because we've depended on a system. So that's why I keep talking about, like, when things are taken away, everything you're holding on to, if you think, oh, you have to have a diploma, the education system, you know, my diploma matters and whatever. I don't know. There's just so many different things because every soul is unique and individual, and everybody's on their own path, and everybody's here to learn different things. That's why it's not productive to get focused on like what's happening in the Ukraine with those people, because we're not there. We don't know. And there's a huge push of trying to get money. And there's actually people who are freaking giving it. Like they don't know yet. They don't realize, like Red Cross and UNICEF, all of these places are a part of the cabal. It's part of their funneling system. It's part of taking what we work hard for, using our emotions to make us feel obligated to help others. And they take it and put it in and go buy an island and then take some kids over there and you know, it's when you see what you've really been funding, that's going to be painful to some people. But people are still, you know, mindlessly giving their money because they're not focused on themselves. They're focused on what's happening for others. the best thing you can do for yourself is focus on what's happening for yourself, what's happening in your life, because that is helping you to move out of these parameters and into a place of independence and open, where you get to make more choices. And, you know, my one friend, she's like, you know, I feel like we're just going to lose everything that is important. You know, we've had these years where we haven't even got to go out and enjoy our lives and stuff like that. But these years that people have been spending is so that they can lose things, so they can learn to reprioritize. People, I can't believe how many people have been in relationships that they hate. They don't like the person. They just are mean back and forth to each other. Who wants to be in that energy? You know? Why would you want to stay in such a toxic relationship? Those things need to end. We need to figure out, like, why am I being in toxic relationships? Why am I trying to keep toxic relationships going? What am I holding on to? What do I not want to face? And then you go in and you start facing it. You start being like, oh, I don't want this. I want something where I feel fulfilled. I want independence. I want a partner. I want companionship. I don't want this toxic fighting and battleground in my home, which so many people have come to accept that that's a part of relationships. That's a part of life. No, it's a part of going into relationships that are destructive. But that is what we're moving out of. We're moving into a more, a place where we're more, we're not on autopilot. We're more in tune to what we want. And this is all of that occurring. But so my friend, and this is just an example. This isn't like I know this is going to happen. This is just an example. But, you know, she was saying like about businesses and stuff all going down and corporations and the food and stuff. And I was like, yeah, all of this stuff that is the corporation is going to go down because it's all part of the system. It's all infiltrated into our lives to keep us depleted and defeated. So that's all crumbling apart. It's imploding, it's exploding. It's all falling apart. That's the end of this world. If you want to think of it on those terms, the end of this world they created is happening. So in this transition to those of us, the survivors, say, who are ready to go in and create a new world for ourselves, that is, let me see, I just got lost for a second. So, okay, so you have the different businesses, and say like Doc Martens, they're super popular. And then, and now they're corporate owned. You know, they used to be made by individuals, and that's why they had such a good reputation. And then they sold out to the corporation. The corporation took them and, you know, lowered the quality and mass produced and all of the bullshit, you know, enslaved people into their workforce, forced them to work for nothing and in bad conditions. Like all of that stuff occurred so they could save a nickel or whatever. So, and they still charge a ton for the shoes. But so, okay, so that corporation goes, you know, all the corporation goes. And so everything that owned these different things, they'll go. But there will be people who will step in and go, well, you know, I love Doc Martens. I'm going to start making Doc Martens, you know. I'm going to start having a store or a manufacturing. I'm going to hire some more people and we're going to produce Doc Martens because people love them and we can sell them and they're good quality. And, you know, you can buy a pair and they'll last you forever, you know. It's not like you have to buy a new pair every couple of years. Like everything they do is just to keep us consumer, buy. You know, need more. And I mean, you can feel that frenzy. Their fucking commercials, everything is just to feed this frenzy, which when consciousness has no definitive idea of who and what it is, it just plays into those games. So what is happening is such a gift to humanity. And people think it's such a crisis, but it's such a gift because it is that come to Jesus moment. It's when everything is a crisis and you have to realize what is important, what's important to me. And since it's a cosmic event, it's all going to be moving really like water. It's going to just be fluid, how everything just keeps moving and expanding. You know, it's going to have, you know, dramatic times like a symphony. There's going to be drama. There's going to be, I mean, just imagine if, you know, one of my friends was like, you know, they're just not waking up. This person's sitting there talking about they've had 3 and that they, now they're so sick, but thank God they've had them because that's what saved them. It's like, you wouldn't be sick if you didn't take the poison, you know, but they haven't realized that. So in realizing that, just think about how many people, when they come to that realization and that, you know, the turn of like seeing things the other way all of a sudden, and, you know, what that's going to do to their psyche and their, it's very humbling to realize how ignorant you are sometimes. But people have to go through that because that's what's going to switch in, you know, we're in such a bully and, you know, comply, tyranny and, you know, acceptance of tyranny. So it has to go through that humbling experience. People have to be able to see that other side so that they can move out of that energy. So all of this stuff has to happen the way it's happening. But when the, let me think again for a sec. I've got so much stuff rushing into my head. So when the people, when the people go in and they realize, you know, that they've done this, and say they've got a lot of family members who died and they think it's just from a sickness, and then they realize that it was murder, then, you know, there's going to be some drama. There's definitely going to be some drama, you know, but we have to allow people their drama. You know, I think one of the things too, as souls, like, you know, like for me, I understand a lot of things that a lot of people don't understand. And so when I watch people do certain things and I already know what the outcome is going to be, it's hard. It's hard to sit back and watch people go through things when you know what the outcome is going to be, but you know that their soul is trying to learn from these experiences. They're on their path to learning and expansion and everything that they're going to go through to get them into this other state of being. And so for me, it's learning to, you know, take my hands off of it, to sit back. That's why I do this, you know, this keeps me out of everybody else's business. Like, oh, do this, do that. I still get people, you know, calling me and stuff. And, you know, if you call me, I'm going to tell you, that, you know, you're probably going to listen to me talk like that. You know, I understand things. I see things. And there's nobody who can put me off of my inner knowing. You know, I know this stuff is happening. And I know that this is the transition into the age of Aquarius. I know this is all about the expansion of consciousness. I know this is all really, really good, what's happening, even when people feel it's so bad. And I mean, like right now you have these people who are putting up, you know, that they are in, what is that called? In support, but not that they stand with the Ukraine. And it's like, okay, I get that we still have people who need to label, divide, and all of that. But that is why, I mean, you can see it has to stop. You know, like my daughter, I guess my brother and my sister both had posted something because our name was Harshenko. And when my grandpa came over from the Ukraine. But like I've talked about before, immigrants weren't accepted and they were embarrassed to be immigrants. It was really embarrassing, you know, if you were together with an immigrant and stuff. So they would change their names to not sound so foreign. So my name went from Harshenko to Hart. And so my brother and sister posted something about that, and relatives from the Ukraine or whatever, that's where our family roots. Well, some of them's from Scotland, some is Welsh, some is, like my grandma's, there's not as much information because they had been over here longer. you know, but my grandpa, both my grandpas, it wasn't as much because my one grandpa's parents were in Scotland and came over. And the other one, they came while he was little from the Ukraine. But anyway, so my daughter was asking about, you know, you think we have people over there? And I'm like, I'm sure, you know, we've got people over there. We don't know those people, but I'm sure that there's people that we have some sort of blood, you know, blood association with. But that doesn't mean, like, I keep seeing these people who, you know, I've got relatives there, I've got family there and stuff like that, but it is still their stuff to go through. You know, we have our own stuff to go through, and that is part of the distraction, like, oh, I've got to focus on what these people are going through. What these people are going through is so horrible. When you're not even there, you don't even know what they're going through. The live footage I've seen is nothing like what they're showing on the news. The news is showing, you know, CGI drama. They're showing a movie. They're showing, you know, just a feature film to scare the shit out of you. The truth, where the people are down on the roads and stuff, they're getting a completely different story. You know, just like, what was it? I've seen some stuff where, oh, just even when I was going to that stuff, when I was supporting Bernie in the first election, you know, where the whole drama began for us all. And I was really supportive of Bernie. And when I was going into, I would go to watch his rallies, or whatever they're called. I don't know if they're called rallies, but when he would come in and he would go to the Coliseum, there would be, oh my gosh, it would be so full. You would wait 4 or 6 hours just to get in there. And it was so full. It was huge. I don't know if it's as huge as, you know, T-Rums, but it was huge. There was so many people outside that couldn't get in. And he would go out and talk to them. And so I was following what he was doing. Like, you could follow his stuff on, I think at the time it was Facebook, where everything was. And you could see the different rallies and stuff and how many people were there. It was just all the time. Kept being the same. Huge amounts of people. But then they started lying and saying that there was, oh, hardly anyone going there. Well, if you were watching the things, you knew, like, they were lying. So the news was saying, oh, hardly anyone's going there. Hillary's got such a huge following. And then they show footage of her in a gymnasium with like 20 people. They're like, what are they talking about? Like, I've been to one of these. No, everybody is supporting this other person. Why are they pushing her? And then when I started going on and looking and seeing what people were saying about her, I was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. But that's when I started seeing that they were cheating, because I knew Bernie had the real vote. I even went, I mean, I was all involved at the time. And I went to, what was it? I can't remember. It was something at the school. And it was so many people. And it wasn't to vote. It was something, but it was, oh, so many people. Lines and lines of people. It was all completely full. Everybody's in there. And it was to, oh, I think it was to pick delegates. Something like that. But everyone in there, there was, I think, out of all of the tables, say like if there was 100 tables, 5 of them were for the other person. So how they ended up saying that other person, HRC, was our person that we wanted as Democrats, that was all a lie. That was all fake. And I was watching it, and that's when I started going like, what the fuck? And then it just kept being more and more layers, you know. Then I was just like suspicious, but you know, it kept building on that suspicion. I mean, by the time it got to 2020, I mean, I was ripe for the pickings. When they were showing some of that stuff, I was like, oh, where other people, they still hadn't even seen it. When I was trying to tell them, you know, Trump's going to win, people were freaking out. Like I was the one who was making him win or something. People were getting so mad at me. Like, I'm just telling you what's going to happen. And, you know, and that's what happened. But it had to happen that way. Everything that is happening, it is all destined events. Everything is happening exactly the way it's supposed to happen. There is no other way. There is no control you have to try and change how things are happening. It's happening the way it's supposed to happen. And you are supposed to, you know, grow. At any point of after my healing, like after my first thing happened, the brain injury, you know, I could have started working on my healing then, but I was, you know, determined. I was still trying to figure out how to work. I was, you know, kept applying for jobs, and I was struggling. I was struggling so hard. And if I would have just focused on myself, I could have started healing more then, you know, but I wasn't ready. I had to go through more bullshit to get ready. But that's the way that most people are. Most people just have to keep going through shit and going through shit until they're just like, throw their arms up like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? And that's what everybody needs to get to, is that moment of like, you know, what am I supposed to do? And connect with your soul so that you can figure it out. This is also that you can connect from your mind, body, spirit, so that you can start living life different, because we don't want to keep living life the same. And this is so we can live life different. We have to let go of these three-dimensional constructs that have been here to jail us, to jail our soul, to keep us small. This is a time of expansion. It's not that things have to end, but other things will expand, and they're going to expand for us. It's going to be good for us. Like, just imagine, you know, back to the Doc Martin thing. Somebody's like, hey, I want to, you know, I still want to have Doc Martens. I'm going to open my own little manufacturing place. You know, you only need a few people in there making the boots, because when stuff is made by hand and not just by machines and slaves, it's higher quality. You know, you may sell them for much more, but we're going to have much more money. We're not going to be struggling like this, because the Jubilee is going to change how we live financially, and we're going to be abundant. You know, I know a huge part of the Age of Aquarius. I don't know if at the end of the Age of Aquarius, we're going to start going into the same thing as this. You know, that's going to crumble away and we're going to go into something different. I don't know. I mean, it's a long time. The Age of Aquarius is a long time. 26,000 years or whatever it is, each cycle. So, you know, we'll have a long, long time to come in and incarnate. And then plus, there's not going to be the same thing about time. Like, we're already releasing time. We're already looking at time differently. People are reevaluating what they want to do with their time and how much their time is worth. Like, all of that is already happening. And, you know, what people want to do with their time and money and everything. You know, it's all going to be so different because it's been so controlled, and they are losing control, and they are destroying themselves. They are imploding upon themselves because they've been so corrupt and so evil that they cannot continue. They definitely can't continue into the Age of Aquarius. But, you know, somebody who wants to do that, they start making money from doing something they love and putting out a product that's a good quality. You know, things are just going to be so much different. And we don't need to panic about the food and stuff. People just need to reevaluate. Like, do I really need to eat 2 giant plates of food and be 50 pounds overweight and then complain about my health? No. Start reprioritizing. What do I really need, you know, to fuel my body? How do I... There's so many people too. It's like, start paying attention to what works inside your body and what doesn't. We're all unique. We're all individual. So everything is about for you to learn for you, you know, and, you know, there's lots of people who are focused on all of the stuff that they consider to be bad happening, but it's all being through the media. So it's just to fuck with your emotions. You don't know it's real unless you're there. Unless something is happening to you, you don't know it's real. And what's happening for others is for their experiences, so they can grow. So you're not going to grow if you're focused on everybody else's problems. The way you're going to grow is to focus on your own, to face your own demons. So I don't know. I can't say it enough, but Hopefully that makes more sense, because this is the time when we get to go back to who we truly are at our soul level. And you do, as you heal, you start feeling this silly side of yourself that you don't care. Like, I can go outside and do weird shit. I don't give a shit, you know. If I want to, you know, go walk on a sidewalk and, you know, jump over every single crack so I don't break my mother's back, then I'm going to do that. And I'm not going to give a shit if somebody thinks, why is that old lady doing that? Is she crazy? I don't give a fuck if they think I'm crazy. I'm going to just do what I want to do and have fun doing it and appreciate life, appreciate living, appreciate the experience that I get the opportunity to have. So anyways, it's all about reprioritizing. It's all about expansion. It's all about us getting to learn about ourselves and to figure out who we truly are and get to live by those parameters that we design. So, you know, I'll just say again, just let go. As things are crumbling, don't hold on. Let go, let go, let go. And know that the future we're going to build so much better. That everything that we are letting go of was our chains. It was what held us back. So again, work on you and everything is going to get better. Don't feel down. It's exciting. Focus on the future. Focus on your desires, your dreams. Focus on the positive. Don't focus on the negative. Let go of the negative. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.